It's still Plus Politics now. The former Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, and his wife, Beatrice, are in prison after they were denied bail by an Uxbridge Magistrate Court in the United Kingdom. Now, the lawmaker and his wife are facing trial charges on human trafficking and organ harvesting. The alleged victim in this is a homeless 15-year-old boy whose identity is yet to be disclosed. He was reportedly brought to the United Kingdom by Ekweremadu and his wife from the streets of Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Now, documents show a letter written by Ekweremadu to the British High Commission explaining the situation and that have surfaced online and claims the donor is not a minor. Now, joining me to discuss and break this down, because this is the most trendy topic today, is Obinna Chukwu. He is a legal practitioner. Jide Ologun, who is also a legal practitioner, and Mr. Ezekiel Nyaitok, who is a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. This is a very good team to have discussed this matter.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great.
Thank you.
I'm going to start from the legal perspective, and then we'll look at the politics of it. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ologun. This story has had many dimensions. There's the side of the Senate president, and there are those who are supporting the Senate president. There are those who are against him. And then, of course, there is the British story, all in it. Now, they have been denied bail. But there are people who are querying the sketchiness of the story from the boy and, of course, from the Senate president. Tell me what you think is going on.
It's already beyond the media arguments that we have in Nigeria. The London Metropolitan Police has chosen to arraign Ekweremadu and the wife on some allegations. And it includes procuring a passport for a boy of 15, claiming to be 21. Human trafficking is involved. Intention to carry out organ harvest is involved. And for the UK government, they have refused to grant them bail because they do not take lightly the allegations involved in this conduct. And we can quickly try and make a comparison. You recall that the former governor of Delta State was jailed in the UK for 13 years in respect of corruption, fraud, money laundering. And he has not even been prosecuted in Nigeria for the same offenses. So you don't expect that the UK will browse over these allegations lightly. And having said that, they still have access to the presumption of innocence. These are just allegations at this point. So you expect that the UK government will carry out thorough investigation and run them through diligent prosecution before a committed judiciary. So we cannot put on the matter right now. But for the purpose of trying to expose us to what the elements are, when you talk about the elements of crime, you talk about the mental state, which we call the mental state. That's one word for guilty mind. We talk about the conduct itself, actus reus. We talk about the concurrence, which means that without the mens rea and actus reus, we cannot even convict anyone of crime. And you talk about the causation, which links the accused with this criminal conduct. So right now, the matter has been adjourned to the court of 2022. The critical aspect of it is that it's so important to the UK government that they have not been granted bail. So we are monitoring to see how it goes. But basically, I mean, for presenting that young man to be 21, rather than the rightful age of 15, it's a serious issue. And some of the lessons to learn here is that the UK government takes issues like this seriously. So what passes in Nigeria may not pass in the UK. So,
okay.
And the former Controller General of Immigration has promised that there should be a relationship between Nigeria and the UK to resolve this matter. But basically, I anchor my position now that there are allegations against the couple.
Okay.
And it's left for the Nigerian police and the state government to come to a conclusion.
Okay. Let me move to Barrister Chukwu. Many have made a case, an argument. I mean, FFK has also argued that it is an allegation. There is still that innocence until proven guilty. And the questions that many ask is, I mean, because there has been a story, a side to it, which says that this young person got to the United Kingdom, was tutored as to what he would do. And first, let's not forget that the organ did not, according to them, match. Hence, they wanted to return him to the United Kingdom, but he returned him to Nigeria, but he ran away and got to the Home Office. And then all of a sudden, decided to say, well, look, according to them, I'm 15 years old. I came here against my own will. And of course, it has become what it is. But why would a long-serving senator decide to go on this path? I mean, we know that we have fought against, we've fought for child's rights. We've fought against abuse of the rights of children and all of those things. And even certain states had put out a law that their young stars would not even be taken into any form of modern-day slavery. Why do you think Senator Ekweremadu and his wife would go on this path if it be true? What level of desperation would make anyone, decide to do a thing such as this?
Okay. Number one, I would say that it's still too early to reach some of these conclusions that some of us are reaching, because I'm not an issue that needs to be looked at is, again, whether or not the youngster lied or presented a forged age declaration to Ekweremadu, upon which Ekweremadu now filed for visa and other sundry documents before finally they arrived United Kingdom. That area also needs to be looked at, and I believe that the UK police or the whatever agency that is handling this matter will look at it from all angles, because I am not going to hold brief for Ekweremadu. There are some areas that by my own understanding, I could say that the desperation either to save or to assist their daughter may have led them to do something that I think, from my own understanding and understanding of the law, I will say that the family didn't do well. Number one is that when it has to do with transplant or donation of organ or harvesting of organ, particularly harvesting of organ, is against the law. Is even against international law. If there is going to be any donation of any organ or body part, it has to go through the legal process. And again, the medical, it should be the hospital or the medical personnel that should be at the forefront. It shouldn't have been Senator Ekweremadu and his family trying to railroad the boy or whoever to UK for the transplant or whatever. I think if the family, if not for desperation, if the family had gone through the normal process, because the normal process should have been present their daughter to the medical facility. The medical facility knows how to go through the crucibles of law. Then an announcement is made looking for donors. Wherever the donors come from, then the people that are concerned would have looked at the age. Because why this is really much an issue is because of two things. Number one, A minor does not have capacity to enter into any valid contract. It doesn't matter how Ekweremadu's family will twist it. Once it is confirmed that the boy is a minor, except there are documents or so evidence to show that the boy, in concert with other people, may have lied to the family. That will be the only thing that I think may have to play somehow be an advantage to the Ekweremados. But if not, a minor cannot validly enter into any contract. Talk less of entering a contract for fraud.
Okay.
No minor has a right to say, I donate any part of my body, not even an adult. Nigerian law forbids it. It's against Nigerian law, it's against international law for a human being to present, to even donate any parts of your body for monetary or pecuniary gains.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Mr. Nyaitok. Mr. Nyaitok, let's talk about the politics of it. Many, I have heard, have called this a political witch hunt of sorts, judging from the fact that a few weeks and months ago, there were plans in the works reportedly, for the Senate president to move to the ruling party, reportedly. And now many are saying that this is a political witch hunt of sorts, that this was planned from the get-go to make the senator look bad. Let's also not forget that he was recently made a visiting professor to a university abroad, and many have said that this is somewhat of a stain on his persona. But again, do you think that this was a clearly thought-out plan of sorts to bring the man down?
If I answered in the affirmative, I think Nigerians will lose the respect I think they have for me. To say that a case as grievous as this is masterminded by the opposition to either make you look bad or to gain political advantage. I think that is a very, very simplistic, approach to a case of this magnitude. Now, the first is there's a difference between organ harvesting and organ donation. Put that in one basket. Second is that we live in a society that has two major problems. The first problem is that the big man has a way of delegating responsibilities, and then the smaller people have a way of being unduly sycophantic, so that when they see what is wrong, rather than tell the big man the truth, they have this mentality that nothing can go wrong, anything can be covered, and they forget that Nigeria is not like other countries. To that extent, there is a conspiracy theory that I would look at where the man has given a mandate. Being a political season is very serious, and gives his people, can you do this for me? And they say, yes, we can. And they probably even possibly cut a deal. And the man does not do the due diligence because he's a big man. And as a result, he writes the necessary letters without, believing, trusting that his people have done the due diligence. And there's a possibility that his people see the chance of making a deal out of the whole system. At the end of the day, I want to look at certain timelines that are not made clear to me as of today. When was this letter written? Where were you? When did you travel? That's talking about the young person. For how long were you in the place, in Britain, so to speak? Fourthly, when you were fully tested, did you say anything? What was the reaction? Can they play the tapes? And finally, they come back to you and say, well, thank you. Unfortunately, the organs don't match. Tomorrow or next, you'll be going to Nigeria. And then, boom, the guy zaps. He takes off. So could this be an innocent young boy? Or could he be a trickish person who was part of the deal of falsifying his age and getting back to the UK, seeing a chance of going to UK and then disappearing from there. I think that we should not be hasty to draw certain conclusions. There could be situations of irresponsibility with respect to the concept of due diligence, and also thinking that, this issue of the big man can get away with anything. As a result, he delegates functions to the smaller people. So we really need to look at all the timelines. He might have done something that is unethical or even illegal. But the question is, to what extent could this have been an intentional act or a case of irresponsibility or being deceived? At the end, I look at a father who has passion for the child and is willing to bend over backwards. But if he did that to the detriment of another person's child, it is unforgivable. But if it was something that was presented as a consented situation, and when he discovered it did not work, and he says, "Thank you, young man. I really appreciate that you were willing to do this for me. I have to take you back to your parents because I had promised to do that, and that will be tomorrow." And then this guy now says, obviously there's always a fifth columnist, now says, "Wow, no, I'm not going back to Nigeria." And somebody tells him, this is the way to get about it. It's a case we should not really rush. I will not exonerate Ekweremadu, even on grounds of irresponsibility and not doing due diligence, but we really need to see to what extent he is either culprit or he is a victim of not doing due diligence.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, our time is fast spent, but I want to give you each a sentence each as we wrap up this conversation. The court has refused bail for both the Senate president and his wife. Thank goodness this is happening in the United Kingdom, as opposed to if it were here. The name of the young person is being withheld, of course, for reasons, protective reasons. But how do you see this turning out? And again, what kind of way does this paint us as a country in the eyes of those who are watching on the international scene? A statement each.
No, let's go back to the case of Ibori. What the UK said then is that corruption is a cancer in developing countries, and that the UK has zero tolerance for corruption, and that the UK is committed to rooting out corruption wherever it is undermining development. So it's a matter of two systems now. So perhaps what we may overlook in Nigeria, not passed in the UK.
Okay.
Why we expect that at the end of the day, if it's not found guilty, it will be released. But what the UK is saying is that they are going to thoroughly investigate this matter, prosecute irrespective of the office he holds or he held in Nigeria.
Okay.
Some people who went to the UK when Ibori was being tried to say he built an Olympic-sized stadium in Delta State. And the court told them they were not to assess his performance in office, but to jail him for specific crime. So there are several lessons to learn here.
All right. Well, we don't have time. We're running out of time, and I said a sentence each, so we have to quickly move on to the rest so that we can wrap this up. All right, quickly, Barrister Obinna, and then of course, Ms. Nyatok.
Okay. For me, I would say that this is not really good for the nation, Nigeria. Coupled with all the stories that have been coming up from this part of the world, I do not think it is the best for this nation. And secondly, I think that the teachable lesson is that due process pays.
Okay.
If Ekweremadu's family had done this thing through following due process, I do not think that all this embarrassment and whatever debacle that is playing out in the United Kingdom will be there.
Okay.
So we should all learn from this.
All right. Ms. Nyatok, finally.
There's a world out there where things are done properly, notwithstanding your position. Secondly, learn to take personal responsibility. The big man syndrome has its limit. Finally, it's unfortunate that the name of Nigeria is being resounded again on the wrong note. I hope we all take a lesson and learn from it. And the Nigerian justice system should learn not to look at face. I think that finally my heart goes to the young child, and I pray that God will even possibly miraculously save the child.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you, Barrister Obinna, Barrister Jide Ologun, and of course, Mr. Ezekiel Nyaitok. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and that's it on the show tonight. We'll leave you with the highlights of the week in case you had not watched some of our episodes this week. Take a look. I'm Mary Anna Cone. See you next week.
I am making a confirmation now to what the Edo State governor said. He said, do you notice that there's a new trend in the horizon now? That almost every household has somebody called the obedient. I didn't say it. That was coming from a PDP governor from the South. That's to tell you that we are reaching out to everywhere in this country. The other day, it was a Fulani girl telling her mother that her new name now is Obedient. This happened in Sokoto, in Gombe. Somebody just opened an office on behalf of the Labour Party and printed it by himself. In the North Central, a woman just opened an office by herself and printed the Labour Party. So you see, what we are having in our hands is a tsunami. So everybody who wants to win government should just come on board.
All the pointers, you're the second person who's talking about the same issue.
Naturally, you can talk like that. You're comfortable. You need to go to Ekiti.
What makes you think I'm comfortable?
You're looking beautiful like this. Go to Ekiti. There is hunger in the land. Even the farming, they can't even go to farm again. There is serious hunger in the land. Now, is it deliberate for the government to starve people and still want to induce them, buy them over with their commonwealth now? Is it deliberate? Okay, fine. Maybe before now, you can say people buy vote. They buy vote maybe a day before the election, and they see that during the course of the election, people can still go ahead and vote their own choices. But in this regard, they call it see and buy. Money was brought to election ground. And this is serious, it's a serious one. If this is not checked, then it's to say to the world that Nigeria is actually on sales.
The 2023 elections might be different slightly a bit from the elections we have been witnessing in the past. I quite agree with my brother here that some sentiments we see play out, like religious sentiment, sorry, the ethnic sentiment, and some other sentiments may not be accepted. But at the same time, Nigerians will now be asking themselves, how was my life, my living standard in 2015 when APC took over, in 1999 when PDP took over? To some extent, these issues are going to play a prominent role.
So these votes are probably going to be split among all the various contenders as it is now. So it simply means that they may not get a sole win to begin to say, yes, their merger, the fusion can actually give them the victory. This cannot happen. What will probably look like at the end of the day, they will share the vital northern votes and probably some splitter of Igbo votes. Some papers are even circulating that the Igbo has over 9 million within the Northwest. We disputed some of these figures. If that is what they are saying, that all the Igbos are probably going to give it or be their votes, that may not give him this election. So this is what we're looking at. So if for instance, before this primary stuff came up, they had decided to come together and they believe their ideologies are the same. As it is now, we don't even know whether they can flock together. Do they really have the same ideology? Why do they want the merger? What are they trying to achieve? What are the political values at various levels? All of this, what are they trying to tell Nigerians they are coming together? You see, these are some of the issues that need to be played out in the political domain before you begin to either act, begin to give them an edge in the kind of policy that we have in Nigeria today. So I don't see this measure coming up. Even when this measure do come up, I don't see them picking the victory. Rather, I see them as people are trying to spoil the shows for other bigger part that probably will won the election straight up.